Escape from Alcatraz. The 1962 Alcatraz escape is one of the most daring and famous escapes in history. In the middle of the night on June 12th, three prisoners, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, implemented an extraordinary plan to escape from the maximum security penitentiary located on a rocky island in San Francisco Bay that was considered impregnable. But these men proved otherwise. The escape idea was born in the mind of Frank Morris, a criminal with an extraordinarily high IQ. The Anglin brothers, known for their tenacity and manual skills, joined him. Using rudimentary tools such as spoons and old hacksaw blades, they began digging small tunnels from their cells to an unguarded service corridor. They worked for months, covering the noise with music played on the radio. They created mannequin heads out of soap, toilet paper, and real hair, placing them in their beds to fool the guards during nighttime inspections. They also built an improvised inflatable boat with stolen raincoats glued together. On the night of June 12th, the plan finally came to a climax. Morris and the Anglins slipped through the excavated openings, reaching the roof of the prison. From there, they descended down a vent pipe and reached the ground. They crossed the yard and made their way to the edge of the island, where they inflated their dinghy and launched themselves into the cold, turbulent waters of San Francisco Bay. By dawn, the escape was discovered, triggering a massive manhunt. Despite intensive searches, the three men were never found again. Remains of their dinghy were found on the coast, but their fate remains a mystery shrouded in myth. Some believe they drowned, while others claim they managed to reach freedom. Escape of the Count of Monte Cristo. The escape of the Count of Monte Cristo is one of literature's most gripping escapes. Edmond Dantes, a young sailor unjustly imprisoned in the sinister Chateau d'If, sees his life destroyed by the betrayals of those he considered friends, falsely accused of conspiracy. In the Chateau d'If, Dantes meets Abbot Faria, an eccentric but brilliant prisoner who becomes his mentor. Faria reveals the existence of an immense treasure hidden on the island of Monte Cristo, and during his years of imprisonment, transforms Dantes into a cultured and sophisticated man. Upon Faria's sudden death, Dantes hides the abbot's body in his cell and slips into the burial sack in his place, using the ingenuity and courage he has acquired. The jailers, unaware of the exchange, throw the sack with Dantes into the deep, icy waters of the sea. Once at sea, Dantes frees himself from the sack and swims to freedom, struggling against the current. He is picked up by a smuggler's ship and, with cunning, manages to gain passage by telling a convincing story. Free at last, Dante heads to the island of Monte Cristo, where he recovers the immense hidden treasure. With a new identity and unimaginable wealth, he transforms himself into the mysterious and powerful Count of Monte Cristo. With his new status, he orchestrates an elaborate and relentless revenge against those who betrayed him, unraveling secrets and guilt with surgical precision. The escape of Dieter Dengler. Dieter Dengler's escape in 1966 is one of the most extraordinary escapes from captivity during the Vietnam War. Dieter Dengler, a U.S. Navy pilot, was shot down during a secret mission in Laos and captured by Pathet Lao guerrillas. Imprisoned in a jungle prison camp, Dengler faced harsh conditions and constant surveillance. Determined not to remain a prisoner, Dengler began meticulously planning his escape. With the support of other prisoners, including 2 Americans and some Vietnamese, Dengler used his cunning and adaptability. They studied the guards' movements and gathered vital information for the escape. On June 29, 1966, after weeks of preparation, Dengler and his comrades decided it was time to act. Taking advantage of a moment of distraction on the part of the guards during a thunderstorm, Dengler and the other prisoners attacked the guards, killing some of them, and managing to seize weapons and supplies. Thus began a desperate escape through the inhospitable and dangerous jungle. For 23 days, Dengler faced hunger, disease, and the dangers of the jungle, surviving through his incredible determination and navigational skills. He fed on berries, insects, and whatever he could find, always on the run from enemy patrols. His physical and mental strength sustained him until, almost at the end of his strength, he was finally spotted and rescued by an American reconnaissance plane. Dieter Dengler was rescued and brought back to safety, becoming a hero and symbol of resilience and courage and demonstrating the power of the human will. The Great Escape from Stalag Luft III. The Great Escape from Stalag Luft III in 1944 is one of the most daring and ingenious mass escapes of World War II. Stalag Luft III, located in Poland, was a German prison camp intended for downed Allied airmen. The camp was known for its extreme security measures, but the prisoners had an extraordinary plan. The mass escape idea was conceived by the camp leader, Roger Bushell. The plan involved building 3 tunnels, called Tom, Dick, and Harry, to increase the chances of success. Working in secret and under constant threat of detection, the prisoners used improvised tools to dig the tunnels, which stretched more than 100 meters below the barbed wire and guard towers. Working in the tunnels was exhausting and dangerous. Prisoners had to deal with the lack of air, the risk of collapse, and the need to hide tons of earth. To transport the excavated material, they invented a system of trolleys on rails. To avoid detection, they hid the earth in the camp gardens and in the legs of their pants, scattering it surreptitiously during daily walks. On the night of March 24, 1944, 76 prisoners attempted to escape through the hairy tunnel. Wearing homemade civilian clothes and armed with false documents, the prisoners exited the tunnel one by one. However, the tunnel exit was only a few meters from the forest, and German sentries discovered the escape before everyone could escape. Despite the discovery, 76 men managed to escape in the middle of the night. The manhunt that followed was one of the largest of the war. Of the escapees, only 3 managed to reach freedom, while 50 were captured and tragically executed on Hitler's direct orders. Escape from Dannemora. The escape from Dannemora in 2015 is one of the most daring and spectacular prison escapes in recent history. Clinton Correctional Facility, located in Dannemora, New York, housed Richard Matt and David Sweat, 2 inmates convicted of murder. These men, with the help of a prison employee, managed to pull off an ingenious and dangerous plan. The plan began with Joyce Mitchell, a prison seamstress who developed a relationship with the 2 prisoners. Matt and Sweat, exploiting the relationship with Mitchell, were able to obtain tools such as drills and handsaws. With these tools, they dug a hole in their cells, behind the beds, that led them to a series of service tunnels. The escape route was complicated and risky. Matt and Sweat had to crawl through pipes and ducts, cut metal, and overcome extremely difficult obstacles. After weeks of meticulous and silent work, on June 5, 2015, they finally managed to reach the outside of the prison through a manhole, exiting in the middle of the night. The discovery of their escape triggered one of the largest manhunts in New York State history. Thousands of police officers, search dogs, and special forces were mobilized to capture the 2 fugitives. The search lasted 3 weeks, during which Matt and Sweat managed to survive in the woods, constantly moving around to avoid capture. On June 26th, Richard Matt was found and killed by authorities. 2 days later, David Sweat was captured alive, but badly wounded, a few kilometers from the Canadian border. Their 22-day escape revealed numerous flaws in the prison security system and led to a series of reforms in prison procedures.